Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us as we continue our business webinar series into 2023. My name is Courtney Yaki, and I'm with the Effingham Regional Growth Alliance, and here today representing the Business Navigator Alliance of South Central and Southeastern Illinois. We have an excellent presentation stored for you today. If you participated in our webinars before, you've probably heard us speak about childcare services, as they are the workforce behind the workforce and a necessary component of the local labor market. And we need to support our childcare services and our childcare industry. So to continue that support, we're going to dive into business solutions and support for childcare businesses in today's webinar. And to guide us through this discussion, we have assembled a panel of experts. Starting us off, we have Blanca Berthier with the Women's Business Development Center, who's going to highlight resources available to childcare businesses. Then we're going to hear from Hannah Roberson and Brad Jansen with Montessori Kids Universe here in Effingham. And MKU has recently started a new childcare apprenticeship with a few of their employees. And then we're going to get to hear from Nate Carlson and Bonnie Moore with Lakeland College and the Center for Business Industry to talk about these apprenticeship opportunities and how you can leverage these not only just for childcare, which is going to be our main focus, but how you might be able to leverage them in other industries as well. So first off, what is the Business Navigator Alliance of South Central and Southeastern Illinois? Well, we are a 6-county regional collaboration working through a small business community navigator grant. As you can see to the side, the partners are Angela Griffin with Coals Together, Lori Miner with the Sullivan, Illinois Chamber and Economic Development, Risa Shaner with the Crawford County Development Association, Nora Swalls with the Marshall Area Chamber of Commerce, Bob Colvin and Freddie Schmitty with the Paris Economic Development Corporation, and then myself, Courtney Yaki, with the Effingham Regional Growth Alliance. This group is charged with professional outreach and technical assistance for local, state, and federal programs. Our mission is to ensure that small businesses in our region are competitive in applying for necessary resources, and our goal is to position you for success by accelerating business recovery and growth. You can see the map on your screen there where the Business Navigator Alliance is located. Today's webinar is part of a series of business webinars that we host each month. These webinars are scheduled for the last Thursday of each month, so please mark your calendars. And then also visit ilbusinessnavigators.com and sign up for our newsletter to stay informed. In addition to the webinars, we host various outreach events, office hours, and offer one-on-one technical assistance. Again, visit Business Navigators, that's navigators with an S, to learn more. About next week, about mid next week, we will post a recording from today's presentation and then add any additional supportive materials on the website as well. So to get us started off today, we have Blanca with the Women's Business Development Center. Blanca is a strategic leader with a passion for finding solutions and resources to support clients. Through her professional career, she has worked helping small and medium-sized businesses scale and grow through advising, counseling, and strategic consulting. She has been a serial entrepreneur, creating and importing business in the wellness industry, founding a food company, and leading an international consulting firm. She joined the Women's Business Development Center to continue to serve her clients and to offer resources for their growth and economic development. Blanca, are you ready to present?
Yes, Courtney, I am. Thank you so much. All right, let's start. I am very happy to be here with you. Thank you for having me. And my role here is to give you information of this organization, which is wonderful, the Women's Business Development Center, and the resources that we can provide to all business owners, and also in particular for our childcare clients. So we can start. Again, welcome everyone. So my name is Blanca Berthier, as Courtney kindly presented me. I am one of the managing directors for Entrepreneurial Services at the Women's Business Development Center, and I will walk you through who we are and what we do. Next slide, please. Okay, so the organization was founded about 30 years ago. We are a non-for-profit that was created initially to strengthen the women's participation and impact on the economy. And we are a nationally recognized leader in the field of women's economic development. We provide programs and services to support and accelerate women business ownership and strengthen the impact on the economy by creating jobs, fueling economic growth, and building stronger communities. Our mission is, again, to accelerate business, targeting women, although we do serve all business owners. Next slide, please. All right, so this is a slide where we show our 4 pillars, right? So we offer information and educational capacity through business building. We offer certification services and contracting services, access to capital, and we also do advocacy. So under the pillar of business building capacity, we do that through several paths. The first one is we do one-on-one business advising, technical assistance, and we work with clients at all business stages, from pre-venture through succession planning, through one-on-one business advising sessions. We also provide educational services through cohorts, workshops, and online training. And we do have cohorts that we will see that in a different slide for particular stages and particular industries. Under our certification pillar, we do provide training, advising, and educational programs for certifying women business owners, and also for clients who want to work with the government for government contracting at all levels, at the state, city, county, and federal. We have a procurement technical assistance center in-house where we provide their services. Under the access to capital pillar, we offer several services. I have to say that we are a funder ourselves. We do lend funds to clients who are in the startup phase and in the established phase. We are not a bank, but we are certified to lend. And we are also a hub for crowdfunding platform called Kiva. And I would invite all the people in the call today to visit our website and learn more about the Kiva platform. It's a very interesting way of funding your business if you're in the startup phase. Through crowdfunding, like I said, it's a loan, but with no interest. And we are, like I said, a hub. We can help you build your project and publish it so that it can be funded. And then, of course, we provide training through, again, one-on-one advising and also workshops for you to learn how to prepare for a loan and to access capital. And our 4th pillar is always, of course, advocating for women. We do that through communications, through our PR firm, and we have always been, this is the mission of the organization. And again, it's always supporting women in the workforce. And like Courtney said, you know, this is supporting childcare and supporting women are a pillar for the economy. So those are our 4 pillars. So now in the next slide, let's dive a little bit more into the clients that we serve. Okay, so as I mentioned before, we do serve clients at all stages. So if you are in the process of growing your business, starting your business, if you just have the idea and don't know where to start, we are here to help you. We work again with pre-venture clients, meaning, you know, again, you have an idea, you don't know where to start. There is a lot of resources that we can offer we offer monthly webinars on how to start a business. in Illinois, how introduction to government contracting, introduction to lending, small group coaching, and we also offer on our website an online on-demand educational platform that you can access at no cost. Just by creating an account, you can access our library to learn more about your business education. And again, the services would be the same for emerging, established, and succession. It's just the offerings and the level of our programs that changes. Some sample workshops for established businesses are scale up or scale higher, which are for businesses who have been operating for 2 or more years. We do offer a few cohorts for childcare, and we will see that in the next few slides. And then we do have 3 signature events a year. We do have a Midwest conference, an annual conference, and the Childcare Summit, which is coming up in June. So again, there's programs and services for every stage and for any industry. Okay, I think I'm not missing anything here. So let's move into the next slide, please. Okay. Okay, that got a little bit out of format. That's okay. So for the childcare people out there, like I said, we offer services for all businesses, but the focus on childcare started way back when we were funded by our funders who recognized the need to support women who needed childcare to either start their businesses or go to work, right? And that is a pillar for the economy. Like I said, we have without quality childcare, without quality programs, women cannot be part of the economy. So that is why the focus on supporting childcare owners and childcare as a business started way back. I have to say that the services that we provide around childcare are business oriented. We help clients around how to run their business. We don't deal with any licensing components or any process for your licensing. That's up to the owner to complete. However, we do offer resources and services around the business side of it, right? So we have again, one-on-one or group advising, and this is especially for childcare people. Our cohorts are 2 directed cohorts for childcare. These are programs that run for 6 weeks, 2 hours, 2-hour sessions once a week. We call them Rise Up and Elevate, and these are just names for meaning we have a cohort for startups and we have a cohort for established childcare providers. And these cohorts have the goals of developing your business skills, your business awareness on how to run a childcare business, how to acquire business acumen, develop your relationships, and identify the resources that you need as a business owner. And then we do have another specific childcare specific program, which is called the Childcare Collaborative. And this is a monthly session where every month we bring in a business expert to discuss any business topic of relevance to our childcare group. This is, I have to say, all our services are at no cost for our clients. Not, we offer the advising, the cohorts, and the collaboratives on our sessions are at no cost. So anyone can join. And yeah, so this is the path. If we can go into the next slide, please. So this is the same path as before, but I'm just showing this as a circle, meaning what I want our audience here to know is that you don't need to be at any specific stage to go into the next level with us. You can come to us for advising or for any programs at any stage. of your life cycle as a business. So you can join a cohort even if you haven't been to our advising sessions. You can join an advising session and then join a cohort. The whole goal here, as you can see here, is centrally the client success. So your success is our success. And again, we offer all these services at no cost because our goal is to support business owners grow and scale their business. Next slide, please. And this, I inserted a few slides here just to show you the type of material that we discussed during our sessions and during our cohort specifically. You know, we understand, for example, that as childcare providers, as childcare business owners, you wear many hats. You know, not only three, but we recognize that you have the vocation to own a childcare business, but you are also an entrepreneur and you are also a business manager. So these are the types of topics and issues that we discuss, and we help you identify your strengths, your opportunities, and pad you with the resources around it for your success. Next slide, please. And again, this is just you know, something to show you how we work with clients. We do work in a very strategic way, guiding them to learn about how they can plan for their growth at any stage, you know, on their financial, marketing, business development, or operations planning, you know, where you want to be, you know, 3 months from now, where you want to be 6 months from now, or a year from now. And we do follow up, and we do have sessions around the success and the stories that come out of this session. So it is very outcome oriented, the services that we offer, and we work in partnership, like I said, with our clients. Of course, it's also a lot up to the client to come back and to follow through. But these are, again, ways in which we work with clients to grow their business. Next slide. And you might be familiar with this slide. And again, this is just an example of how we map out our clients' business planning process. This is a business model canvas, as you might know. We stress the value that the clients offer to their customers, and we concentrate a lot on the life cycle of how do you validate your idea? How do you know that this is going to be a successful business? How do you communicate with clients? How do you get how do you map out your costs and your revenues? If you need resources around it, again, we can help you work through your cash flow projections. We can help you get ready for a loan, and we can help you build your dream team, as we say, to be part of your success. Next slide, please. And again, this is the dream team, right? So we always mention that as a business owner, you need the dream team, which is not necessarily full-time staff, but you need your lawyer, you need your marketing expert, you need your insurance broker, your mentor, which is us, HR, and your banker. So again, this is just like some of the examples of discussions that we have with clients during our sessions and our cohorts. Next slide, please. And I wanted to show you how what a cohort looks like, right? What it is that we cover. And again, these are just 6 weeks. We do have the childcare cohorts are 6 weeks. We do have other cohorts for general business industries that go to up to 12 weeks. But we understand that childcare providers are very busy, and we think that packing everything into 6 weeks works. Next slide, please. And during this cohort, the goals, the program goals are, again, aligned to our pillars, which are learning, business concepts, connecting with advisors, with mentors, with subject matter experts, and then adapting those learnings back into your business. Next slide. And then the outcomes after this cohort, we expect our clients, or we wish our clients will have made connections, right? We'll have learned about all the resources, not only that we can provide, but that they can access through partners as well, and that you acquire the knowledge that you need to grow your business. Okay, next slide, please. And this is a syllabus, for an example of a syllabus for the 6-week cohort. We go through, again, marketing, financials, sales, operations, analyzing your business model, reflecting on your strengths and your opportunities. And again, very strategic and very outcome oriented. And I think that's it in terms of content. I would love to hear if there are any questions from the group, from the audience that I can answer.
Well, excellent presentation, Blanca, and thank you for sharing with us. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We'll run through our presenters today and then enter into a Q&A session. And at that opportunity, if you have a question, you can ask it directly to Blanca or one of the other presenters, or to the panel as a whole. So wonderful presentation. The Women's Business Development Center is a tremendous resource that is made available for people, and thank you for sharing with us and walking us through what that childcare cohort looks like as well. And again, have any questions, please put them in the chat. I seen somebody had raised their hand a little earlier. If you would, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Hopefully everybody can hear us. I had a couple comments submitted that the audio is a little in and out. I think we're catching it well in the recording. Today's recording will be made available. You'll get a link if you're here. If you registered for the event, if you're here today, you'll get a link next week to the copy of the recording. And then you'll get a copy of these presentation slides as well. So continuing on, our next presenters are Brad Jansen and Hannah Roberson with the Montessori Kids Universe. Brad, along with his wife, Jordan, are the owners of MKU here in Effingham. Brad and Jordan have 4 wonderful children and live in rural Effingham County. Brad quit his previous career in agriculture in 2020 to open what is now the largest childcare center in Effingham County. And then Hannah Robinson was born and raised in Altamont here in Effingham County. She has been in the early childhood education field for nearly 10 years and is currently working on her bachelor's degree in ECE at the University of Illinois. Hannah is Director of Operations for Montessori Kids Universe. She has always had a passion for helping children and is excited to see all the great things coming to the future of early childhood. Brad and Hannah, are you prepared to present?
Yes, Courtney, thank you for that introduction. Like Courtney said, name's Brad Jansen. My wife and I, Jordan, are the owners at Montessori Kids Universe in Effingham. Just want to give a little bit of background on us before Hannah jumped into the presentation today. So people ask kind of how we got our start. Essentially, our story is about 3 years ago, my wife and I had been married about 7 years at the time, and she had stayed home with our children. We had 3 children at the time. And it was time, she was ready to go back to work and go back to school and enter the workforce. And we were kind of slapped in the face with reality that a lot of other families in our area had of the difficulty finding childcare. So that kind of coincided with a kind of turning point in my personal career where I was looking for a career change and something a little more meaningful, a little more family friendly. And one day it just clicked. Why don't we do something about the problem? So, we didn't really have much. Jordan had worked at a childcare facility for about a year previously at one point, but we didn't really have a lot of experience in the industry. But we knew, we knew our community, and we knew we could find and hire the right people and help us get this going. So we opened in February 2021. We have expanded since then. We now have 25 full-time employees, 10 part-time employees, and we're licensed for 174 children. So obviously, with that kind of workforce, one of our major struggles and hurdles is employees and employee retention and talent. And we had spent some time, Hannah and some of the other directors at our facility and I, trying to just kind of plan out how we could have success going forward, and really trying to look forward to maybe some of our younger kids in our community to try to entice them to go into the field, and like I said, retention as well. So that's kind of what led us into this path. And Hannah, I'll turn it over to you to talk a little bit about our apprenticeship program.
Thank you, Brad. As Brad mentioned, my name is Hannah Roberson. I am a director here at Montessori Kids Universe. Next slide, please. So we created an apprenticeship. This kind of started, we went to an apprenticeship symposium a few months ago, and we talked with Bonnie and Nate about all of the opportunities that apprenticeships provided. We listened to a lot of different local businesses and heard on their success. And we saw no cons in this program at all, so we decided to give it a shot ourselves. Next slide, please. A lot of people ask us the timeline of this from start to finish. The whole process only took about 4 months. So as you can see, on September 13th, we attended the apprenticeship symposium here in Effingham. The next day, we really liked the presentation we got, so we reached out with Bonnie and Nate, and on September 19th, we met with them and filled out all the paperwork needed to create an apprenticeship. On November 1st, we got everything finalized with the Department of Labor, and January of this year, our program is currently up and running, and we have 2 staff members who are in this program. Next slide, please. I use this quote a lot. If opportunity doesn't knock, build the door. So in this field, we have heard a lot of people say that they are stuck in this field. There's nowhere to go. So we opened a door for them with endless possibilities. You can go to the next slide. So in this field, it's high stress. There's lots of staff turnover. Our goal for this was retention. We wanted to give our staff a visual of where they can go, a better outlook on this profession, because it's kind of just looked down upon. And most people need to see where they're able to go, and this program did just that for us. It gives all of our staff and anybody coming into this field just kind of a roadmap for their success for their future. Next slide, please. So what does this program look like for us in a childcare setting? Of course, every business looks different. For childcare, though, you must be 19 years old to join this program for us. You don't have to necessarily be working for us. Anybody can apply to join the apprenticeship. You go to Lakeland College for 2 years, and you'll come out with your associate's degree. You get me as your mentor to guide you and support you along the way with any scholarships, any support you may need technology-wise, just making sure your schedule is laid out to make you successful in college. And then the last 6 months of the program is where you will become Montessori certified. We are a Montessori Child Care Center, so that was very important to us to add into our apprenticeship. So the last 6 months, you'll become Montessori certified. At the end of this program, you will have an associate's degree in early childhood education as well. So you can be a lead teacher in any early child care setting. And then you get a pay increase with every semester. So when our current girls finish their program here in May. Of course, there's some stipulations with good grades and things like that. You get a pay increase, and that's something that kind of keeps them motivated. They don't feel stuck, and that is a really good thing. And of course, there's no cost to anybody joining this program, and that's something that a lot of people really look forward to. They don't have to pay for their college tuition. Next slide, please. So the future of our apprenticeship program, we are hoping to create a pre-apprenticeship program, and this would be for our high school age students. So that may look like us going to college career days and speaking to our youth about the importance of childcare and how it's so needed in our community for great people. And just to create interest in this field, so people know that you're not stuck, that there are roads to opportunity for you, and just kind of lay that out for them, because everybody needs that roadmap to keep them successful. It's kind of like an internship. Of course, they would be paid to do this pre-apprenticeship as well. Next slide, please. And then, so like I said, here's our contact information. If you have any other questions, you're free to put them in the chat box and we'll answer those later. Here's my information. You're welcome to give me a call or send me an email if you have any questions about how we kind of run our apprenticeship program, or if you'd like to learn more about our program. Just reach out to us and we'd be happy to discuss that with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad and Hannah. Thank you for sharing with us today. We're definitely very thankful that Montessori Kids Universe is here in Effingham County and serving the younger population here. A wonderful facility that you guys have, and the inclusion of the new apprenticeship for opportunity here in the childcare industry, and taking advantage of that is very exciting. And we're glad you guys are really being the trailblazers and running through this opportunity. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And continuing on with the apprenticeship discussion and the apprenticeship towards the childcare industry, up next we have Nate Carlson. Nate Carlson is a community educator and the Apprenticeship Navigator for Southeast Illinois. As the regional navigator, Nate analyzes workforce talent flows across various sectors and works with employers and post-secondary institutions to develop apprenticeship programs, acting as a liaison between industry and the Department of Labor. Nate is a two-time alum of Eastern Illinois University, where he teaches as an adjunct instructor for the School of Communication and Journalism. Nate, are you prepared to present, sir?
Absolutely, Courtney. Thank you for that introduction, and thanks so much to all the presenters today, and to Brad and Hannah for being willing to share their experiences developing these programs. These are very exciting opportunities. And so what I want to do is I want to make time for Bonnie to speak. I know she was excited to speak today on all that she does to help facilitate our amazing apprenticeship programs. But I want to run through what the basic model for apprenticeship looks like. We've been using this word a lot in the last 10 minutes or so, and some of us maybe have a complete understanding, some of us may not have an understanding. So I think it's important to kind of lay out what an apprenticeship looks like and what my role is in helping employers set one of these programs up. So if you yourself are in the childcare industry, if you're an employer looking to set up internal childcare facilities and would like to utilize apprenticeship as a means of doing so, listen up. This is all super useful to you in developing your workforce, and obviously can be used in conjunction with a lot of the great services that Blanca talked about earlier. Next slide, please. When we talk about apprenticeships, we are talking about earning and learning. That is the core of apprenticeship. And I want to make something clear. I use the phrase registered apprenticeship. We talk about, working with the Department of Labor. I want to make it clear that these programs are business driven. I nor the Department of Labor ever tell our employer partners what needs to be in an apprenticeship, what courses students have to take. Those choices are made by you as the business. You know your industry. You know the roles that you're developing an apprenticeship for. So all these programs are business driven. Similarly, Hannah mentioned that MKU wanted to incorporate their Montessori certification, their training into their program. They had the ability to do that. We weren't going to withhold any options from them based on are not understanding their field. So that's one component we like to talk about is business involvement. I talked about earning and learning, and learning happens in two places. It happens on the job and it happens in the classroom. So on the job, we're talking about structured on-the-job training with a one-to-one mentor. Hannah mentioned that she is serving as the mentor for the apprentices at MKU. I think that's awesome. It doesn't have to be necessarily the case at all sites that the person who sets up the apprenticeships is also the mentor. Obviously it depends on the size of your workforce, but again, that's flexible to your needs of your business. If you have a smaller staff and you have the time to be a mentor, I think that's awesome. It's also fine to delegate that to someone. And I think that creates a really exciting opportunity for someone to be a mentor, right? And certainly companies have seen the benefits of that. The related classroom instruction that takes place generally at a post-secondary institution, but it doesn't have to. In other sectors, we also have, for instance, apprenticeships that work with IMEC or other, third-party training educators like that. Progressive wage increases. Hannah mentioned this. This is huge. One of the things we see through apprenticeships is this idea of transparency. Apprentices know going into their programs exactly what they're going to be expected to learn, what classes they're expected to take, and how much money they're going to make as they move through their program. A lot of times nowadays, young people get very discouraged not knowing exactly what their career trajectory is going to look like. How long are they going to have to work before they see dividends for the hard work they're putting in? And apprenticeships, there's that transparency. They know if I get good grades this semester, if I learn these skills, I'm going to see a direct compensation for that in the form of this progressive wage increase. Traditionally, the way that works is, if a journey worker makes X amount of money, the apprentice will start at, let's say, 60% of that and work their way up incrementally. So they do see that progression towards that journey worker rate, and that's huge for keeping retention up, which one of the things we talk about with apprenticeship is not only does it give you the ability as an employer to grow your own workforce, to develop these skills, but it also creates incredible amount of loyalty and retention at a time when, retention has never been more of an issue for a lot of our employers. And certainly in a sector like childcare, where it can be a very stressful role, having that added incentives for retention is very huge there. All apprentices earn a nationally recognized occupational credential. We mean that in two ways. One, all apprentices receive a journey worker certificate from the Department of Labor. That's a nice little thing for their wallet. Additionally, however, when we set up programs through Lakeland College, all apprentices receive either a certificate or a degree of some kind or a license of some kind that they can take with them as they move forward in their career. And that's really huge. And one of the things that's important to know as an employer is that apprentices are an investment. Certainly everything we talk about today is great. Increasing retention, increasing the training of your workforce is super huge, but apprenticeships aren't necessarily a magic wand that we can just wave to fix all problems. They fix a lot of problems, don't get me wrong, and I love apprenticeship in my role, but it's worth knowing that it is an investment like anything else you do for your business. And so, one of the incentives Hannah mentioned is that apprentices receive a debt-free education when they complete their apprenticeship. So the employer takes on the educational costs. Obviously, we have various funding streams we can utilize to make that as cost neutral as possible. But the expectation is that in order to facilitate that retention and provide that apprentice the ability to go to school and work full time, that the employer does cover those costs. So it is an investment, and we just like employers to know that going in, just because that is one of the things that creates that retention, right? Next slide. So I say, okay, this is an investment. What are the benefits to employers? Obviously, we can see what the tangible benefits are to apprentices themselves. They get the credential, they get the debt-free education. They're set on a career path with a trajectory and with all that transparency I talked about. That's great stuff, right? But so what do the employers get out of it? Well, the stats don't lie. Apprentices are an investment, but they are a worthwhile investment. The average ROI for a registered apprenticeship is $1.50 back on every dollar spent. Additionally, through the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, we have an Illinois tax credit of $3,500 plus per active apprentice per year. That's also helping to offset those educational costs. The ability to upskill entry-level workers into tough vacancy positions is something I particularly find super fascinating and amazing about apprenticeships. Is the idea that, at a time when we have these high-skill positions with high demand, when you have workers who, maybe don't have the training or credentials they need to be in those higher paying, higher demand roles, through apprenticeship, we can upskill those individuals, right? And foster their loyalty and their passion and drive towards where you need them to be in your organization. Through Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act funds, we have the potential for tuition or wage reimbursement. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And one thing I like to note is that, when we think of apprenticeship, we tend to think of like a 1500s blacksmith or Star Wars or, lineman. But nowadays, apprenticeship is a very contemporary strategy for workforce growth across all major sectors and in all roles. There's over 1,300 different DOL registered occupations. I always say, from aviators to zoologists. In my time, we've developed my time as an apprenticeship navigator, we've developed roles in everything from professional brewing to childcare. We're working on programs in registered nursing and healthcare and everything in between. So there is absolutely, every role you have in your organization could be a apprenticeship necessarily. And I talked about, we work with the DOL to register these programs. My job is to make that as stress-free as possible. It's an incredibly simple process. The paperwork's actually relatively simple. And really, I'm here to make sure that I have the migraines and you don't. Not that I generally have any migraines, because it is such an easy process. Next slide. So apprenticeships are a win-win-win. They are a win for employers who get to train and retain a productive, dedicated workforce. They also receive incentives through DCEO, WIOA, and available grant funds through our secondary ed partners. For educators, they're able to strengthen their regional industry connections and partnerships, increase enrollment and community visibility. And for apprentices, they receive a high-quality, debt-free education and credential and establish a well-paying career pathway for themselves. So it's a win-win-win. And I also like to say for communities, especially a lot of the time in rural communities, there is this very pernicious and pervasive lie that success means getting out and going somewhere else, right? An apprenticeship directly combats that lie by providing a career pathway to success right in someone's hometown or right, down the street. And so there's something really valuable in that, in showcasing that opportunity for these students so they know that they can do what they want to do for good money where they are at. Next slide. So I talked about registering with the DOL, and what does that look like? Well, there are basically three things the DOL needs from the employer that we work through together in my role, and Bonnie works with this as well on her capacity as our intermediary partner. They want to know, what are the on-the-job competencies your apprentice is going to need? What are the skills they need to have? Or at the end of this 1 year, 2 year, 3 year period, they're a journey worker. What does that look like in terms of the tasks they're able to do, the skills they've developed? So we list those out. What are the intended courses they're going to take at their secondary institution? If they're doing a degree program at Lakeland College, what are the courses they're going to take to get that credential? If they're earning a CDL, we list that. If they're doing any additional certifications, we list those as well. So what are they doing on the job? What are they doing in the classroom? And how much are they being paid and when? So what is the exact hourly wage they're going to make at each stage of the program? And are you basing their raises on how much time they've been in the program, or what number of competencies they've gained, or both? Those are the three models we have. We have a time-based model, a competency-based model, and a hybrid-based model. Now, if all of that sounds kind of complicated, gee, I wouldn't want to have to come up with every single thing this person does as a part of their job. The good news is, you'll remember I talked about those over 1,300 occupations that are already registered with the DOL. Well, for us, when we go to do this paperwork, we actually have an entire archive of templates for all of those 1,300 occupations that we can pull from to revise rather than having to start from scratch. So when we met with Brad and Hannah after they saw us at the symposium, when we met with them, we had paperwork with us that had the template for all of the kind of competencies that their apprentices would need to master. And so we went through them line by line with Brad and Hannah. They'll tell you it's a little tedious, but it was one meeting and that was all it took. We were able to match up what that the paperwork looks like for what their needs were as the employer. And so what that does is, it makes it a streamlined process for the employer, but also I talked about that transparency earlier, and it's not just a benefit for the employee, it's a benefit for the employer as well, because, you agreed that you would learn these skills, that you would do this, this, and this. So it's all on paper, not just for the employee, but for the employer as well. And those components are pretty much it when it comes to the paperwork for registered apprenticeship. We're usually able to streamline those processes pretty quickly. We can always control how fast things move on the DOL side, but on our side, and I'm sure Bonnie can attest to this, we move things along pretty quickly and try to maintain transparent and open communication with, our business partners. Next slide. So when we talk about childcare and an apprenticeship, we work with MKU to develop this program. It's the 3-year model where they're earning the ECE. And one of the nice things, because I work for LBA 23. We're a workforce nonprofit that's based at Lakeland College, but I actually work throughout our 13 county region, and I work with IECC, Illinois Eastern Community Colleges, and Kaskaskia College as well. But there is an intermediary partner there as well. And what's nice about that, what's nice is having, me, the guy who's, setting up and registering the programs, with Bonnie, who does that work on the college's end and also provides the casework, is that we're able to provide very specific accommodations for employer needs. So in this instance, we were able to make sure that the apprentices in the MKU program were able to take flexible remote classes that were being offered through Cluthy Center. And that was, very advantageous for them, and that, if they had to have their apprentices work around, other scheduling, it may not have been as beneficial for them. So that was really nice, and I think that really encapsulates the benefit to the hands-on approach that we take in developing this program. Next slide. So now I'm going to, hand the baton over to Bonnie, who will talk about some of the work that she does as an intermediary and how that incorporates with what we do to register the program. I want to note that, we work as part of Apprenticeship, or I at least work as part of Apprenticeship Illinois through the Illinois WorkNet Center. They have amazing resources available on their websites as well for what apprenticeship looks like, and getting started guides and all stuff like that. So be sure to check out apprenticeshipillinois.com as well if you have any interest in this. If you are within Effingham County or the surrounding region, or Southeast Illinois in general, then I'm the individual you're most likely going to be working with to set up an apprenticeship. But the resources there are super useful as well. So Bonnie, hopefully I've left you something to talk about.
Sure. So as Nate said, because he covers such a wide area and not just Lakeland College, it's very helpful for us at Lakeland to have somebody that knows about the programs that we offer here at the college and can help the business navigate the coursework. So sometimes when we have a business coming to us, there's not a degree program, a certificate program that perfectly fits what the apprenticeship model would need to support those on-the-job competencies. So what I like to do is, before we meet with a business, I'll ask you for the job description for the position that you're looking for to create an apprenticeship with. And then I will take your job description and start matching up essential functions with coursework that is supported at the college. So when we come to you and we talk about what classes do you need to take to be able to learn the skills or to support the skill sets that you're learning on the job, that we're not walking into that blindly, and we're not wasting your time and your precious time as an employer in trying to figure out what that coursework looks like. In addition to that, it's nice because when I come back to campus and say, for example, we have a course that might need substituted out for something else that's more applicable, I manage all of those pieces and negotiate here on campus with some of our division chairs or our faculty to either build new curriculum or to substitute a course out. So that part of it should be simplified for you as well. The other piece that we provide at Lakeland College that is different than some other intermediary entities is that we provide one-on-one case management with our apprentices. And we do that at no additional charge after they pay, or after the tuition and fees are paid. This is just a service that we do because we know that people who have individual assistance and they have a go-to person, especially a non-traditional student or not that student who's coming right out of high school and moving into college, they have needs that might be different. So some of the students I have worked with have needed help in figuring out how to get a driver's license. Some have needed a computer, and some have needed someone to just sit down and listen to them talk about the barriers that they have to continuing their education and kind of coaching them through how we can knock those down or how we can keep going. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I have apprentices come in that just might need a little bit of this is why you're doing this, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how it's going to be done. And sometimes I have to be the heavy, I guess, a little bit in those cases. But it seems to be beneficial for those students to be able to have somebody on campus that if they don't know where to go to get their books, or they don't know what to do for financial aid or that sort of thing, that they have a go-to person. And that has helped us with retaining and helping those apprentices become completers of those programs. And I think that that's a positive thing for everybody. And I'm grateful to the college for not requiring any additional fees on top of the tuition that you would already be paying for those folks. I think that in all honesty, as someone that came from private industry to education, we talked about registered apprenticeship programs when I worked in manufacturing 10 years ago, and there just wasn't support from a federal or a state level. We didn't even know where to start. And frankly, from our educational institutions, and these programs have just taken off, and we're seeing them outside of your traditional trades. And so kudos to Montessori for being willing to be that first group that stepped into something that wasn't quote unquote blue collar. So I appreciate that very much, because this is a non-traditional role for a registered apprenticeship piece. And so being able to get that first one under our belt and say, hey, it all works the same way as we would see one that would be in a traditional trade has been wonderful. And really, when we're in this job market that we're in right now in this economy, it's so important to think of things maybe a little bit differently than we would have in the past. And this is a great example in how to be able to do that.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you, Bonnie and Nate, for sharing with us. And Bonnie, glad we got to hear from you. And just to let the audience know, Bonnie is the director for the Center of Business and Industry at Lakeland College. She's held leadership roles in education, healthcare, and manufacturing. And one of her main priorities at Lakeland College is the development and growth of these federally registered apprenticeship programs. So thank you for sharing with us about the apprenticeship programs as a whole and how that operation works. We got a chance to hear from MKU from the employer side. It's great to hear from the other side of the table, from the education side, the educator side as well. Really loved a comment that you had, Nate, with that apprenticeships are an investment, and glad to hear that. Definitely know that is an investment into your workforce. I think Brad and Hannah definitely have recognized that and continue to work with their two now and hopefully more apprenticeships in the future. But excellent presentation. Very thankful for guiding us through that. We'll go ahead and enter into our Q&A session. So if you have any questions, I know a lot of questions come in through the chat. I've had some come in as direct message to me. Please throw them in the chat. We'll try to cover everybody. We are coming up on the 1 hour time frame. We'll continue on for the questions here in this Q&A section. But do know that the recording from today's webinar will be sent out to everybody that registered, and then it'll be posted on our website at ilbusinessnavigators.com. That's navigators with an S. And so if you aren't able to stay with us, you can still catch the questions through that recording too. So to start out, and we will go ahead and start sharing, is first question that came in was for Blanca as our first presenter. Blanca, you had noted that the Women's Business Development Center is certified to lend, and when you were talking about access to capital, and the question was, is that just through the Women's Business Development Center, and that you take a first position on a loan, or is that participating with another local bank and you guys take a second position?
Yes. Yes, thank you for the question. It's both, actually. We can either serve as the lender, or if we feel that clients are bankable, we will definitely send them to a bank. So yes, it's both. We would take a look at both options.
So most certainly a case-by-case basis on what's going to be best for the specific client and being able to assist them.
Exactly.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then directly after that one, it was about the crowdfunding, and that you guys are a hub with, is it Kiva that you guys are a hub for crowdfunding? And just how does that work? They connect with you guys, and can you quickly walk us through that process?
Sure. So the Kiva platform is a crowdfunding platform that we are a hub for. Then the process is you meet with us. You do need to post your project online, right? So for that, you need to present a business plan. Know how much funding you will be needing. I have to say, Kiva only funds up to $15,000, so that might not be the need for everyone. But if you're starting out, that can be used, and you can use Kiva for some, and then have some other sources of lending for the rest of your needs. So you present your business plan. We upload the project on the platform, and it's a crowdfunding. The client has the responsibility of doing some crowdfunding themselves at first through friends, family, and then when they get up to a certain level, the project is published online, and basically anyone with access to the platform can fund, and they can fund up, $25, $50, $1,000, whatever. And then if you get to your funding goal, you get funded. If you don't, you don't. It's kind of like all or nothing. So, but it's a pretty, we've had a lot of success stories, and it's a pretty good option for some clients.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for walking us through that process. Additional questions from the chat, and I know that you had an opportunity to answer these, but we want to make sure they keep the recording. So had a question that would I be able to use this cohort as a senior care provider? So and I believe this had came in when you were talking about the childcare cohort. So Blanca.
Yes, I don't see why not, because we teach the business side of it, so it would definitely be something that this client will benefit from. So yes.
So definitely relatable. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then is your childcare assistance for in-home childcare, or would it be for a small community daycare or a childcare center?
For both. We do serve home-based daycares and center-based daycares, so anybody can join, and we don't have specific cohorts for one or the other. It's we welcome everyone.
Awesome, awesome. We had comments come in about a great presentation, and great to hear all the great things that the WBDC offers. And a question that came in for any of the presenters says, I wonder if any presenters would be able to share what they know so far about the governor's recent budget proposal that includes $130 million for workers' compensation contract program that aims to enable providers to set higher wages and thereby recruit and retain more quality teachers and staff. Blanca, is that something you can touch on, or maybe Nate or Bonnie or even Brad or Hannah?
I'm definitely not the right person to answer that question.
Understood. No worries. It is quite a specific thing for the recent budget proposal, but still wanted to ask it. Nate, I see you unmuted yourself. Do you have a comment?
I was just going to say that sounds like something I would attend a webinar on.
So, Tom, I don't think currently the panel has any additional comments to that, but if you want to send something to us offline, maybe we can continue that chat or try to find a little additional information for you. And then from Elizabeth, do you service home daycare providers? So Blanca, is it just centers? And you had touched on it previously, but it did come in again, home daycare providers as well.
Yes, we do.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then for Hannah, you had mentioned you have 2 staff members running through the apprenticeship program, and the question was, how has that experience been? And even Brad, if you want to touch on that too, but for the 2 individuals themselves and running through this, how's it worked within your culture? How's the experience been so far?
So far so good. We're still new. I mean, we're about a month and a half in. But so far I touch base with both of the girls multiple times a week just to see where they're at. They're only taking I think right now they're taking like 4 classes and they're all online. And they seem to be doing very well. So I think so far so good.
Awesome, 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 awesome.
I would add,
Go ahead,
Courtney,
sir.
sorry, I believe both of those girls are able to work full time at the moment, right, Hannah, and go to school full time. So it's been fantastic.
And what an excellent way to invest in your workforce too. I mean, you had noted, and Nate had noted as well, the no cost for going into the program, and that MKU covers those costs, and there are potential tax credits tied to it. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is an expense. It is an investment that the employer is making. Brad, any comments or to expand upon the decision to go this route? I know the idea came up through, hey, we like what we heard at the apprenticeship seminar and a symposium, and next day contacted Lakeland College. But what was that tipping point? What was that thing that, hey, we really want to start working on this?
Well, I mean, we were looking for or to almost produce something like this on our own. We were kicking the idea around, and once we were made aware that the program exists and that this is literally what Nate and Bonnie do every day, we were overjoyed to find out, that there's an option. And yeah, the process was super painless. I mean, like Nate said, we had it all figured out in about, I don't know what her timeline said there, less than 2 months. And then it took about a month or so for the state to get back to us. And then we just waited for January. I mean, it was a piece of cake. And like Hannah said, we're early on in the process, but we already know we've already identified a few others that want to join the program in the fall. So I'm sure
Awesome.
we're growing it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And Nate tells us he makes it easy. I mean, even in his presentation, but to hear that validation, that definitely helps and assists and really puts some weight behind of what Bonnie and Nate are trying to do and spreading this news and assisting local businesses to invest in their workforce. And then so maybe continuing off of that, and that it's an easy process. And we originally had started the question about the covering the costs and the tax credits. Nate, can you briefly walk through how painful or how painless is that tax credit process?
So when it comes to the Apprenticeship Illinois tax credit, it's very simple. They actually have somebody at DCEO who one of their job responsibilities is dedicated to helping businesses with this. And that to me is amazing, because all it is a spreadsheet file where you have one column, apprentice's name, one column, expenses for the fiscal year. You add that up, and it's a reimbursement model, so it goes up to $3,500. Plus, if the individual lives in an opportunity area, it's a zone determined by DCEO as needing a little extra help or having extra socioeconomic barriers. There's an additional $1,500 that can be reimbursed through that tax credit. So it's incredibly painless, but it really is a reward to our employers for making that investment. Combined with our other WIOA funding streams and grant dollars made available by the individual led partners, we really want to be able to make these opportunities available so that, the employers can't afford to make that investment. And so also these programs, I don't think it's too hyperbolic to say can be life-changing for the individuals who are involved, who may have had barriers to gaining higher education, who maybe never saw themselves as going back to school, didn't see that as a possibility. And our employers making that investment in their employees, I mean, that can and will change lives. So it's not just for the immeasurable business benefits. Certainly that is something that always is heartwarming about these programs for me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then there was a question about the apprenticeships program in Christian County, and Nate or Bonnie, I know Bonnie, you had answered that question in the chat. Want to note that Nate, you do cover this area, but there are other apprenticeship navigators throughout the state, throughout the region. One of you like to expand upon that, please?
Absolutely, I can briefly. So if you go to apprenticeshipillinois.gov, It'll quickly redirect you. If you click on the employers or information for employers button, it'll take you to a page that has, the delightful mugshots of every Illinois region's Apprenticeship Navigator. That's the me in each region that is in charge of helping businesses develop these programs. So it has contact information for every region. In the instance of Christian County, that's Kim Kuchenbrod, who works with DCEO, and is really, she makes me feel like, a kindergartner when it comes to this stuff, because she's such a whiz about it. So if you're in Christian County, especially, you're in good hands when it comes to this stuff. But all of our navigators are really invested in making these opportunities happen, and dedicated to making this process as streamlined as possible.
And Bonnie, I believe you said you're going to follow up and provide some contact info for the person that had that question.
Yeah, I actually did put it in the chat. So
awesome. And then there was a question for you, Bonnie. What percentage of apprentices quit the program before completion?
Well, let's see. We have 16 current or have had 16 enrolled apprentices. I had one quit because he figured out the job was not for him, and I had one leave to take alternate employment in Louisiana, where they're originally from. So that would be it.
Awesome.
So far.
And when we look, sorry, just to jump in here, because I love answering this question. When the DOL gives us their statistics, the retention rate for apprentices 3 years upon completion of their program is 92%.
That's
3
tremendous.
years upon completion, which is, nowadays you hire somebody and 2 weeks in, they got Indeed.com pulled up in the next tab over. So when we talk about the, measurable, not just immeasurable, but literally measurable retention benefits of apprenticeship, keeping people on for the long term and helping them see a career pathway with your organization is certainly part of it.
And then for Brad and Hannah, it was noted the apprenticeship program you developed, and obviously with Nate and Bonnie as well, but the apprenticeship program you developed seems really great. It's innovative, and your plans for pre-apprenticeship programs sounds very hopeful too. But the question was, can you talk about other strategies that you've tried in recruiting and retaining the staff for your center?
Sure. So for recruitment, we'll go to local high schools and talk to them. There's a lot of college or high school seniors that don't know what they want to go to school for. Those are really great opportunities to explain to them what you have to offer, and just kind of rope them in, come get them in your door, show them around, and make them know more about what you have to offer. College career days, high schools from all over. Lakeland College is really great, and they've got lots of career days. So that's also a good recruitment. Facebook is a big one for us. It's a free tool to use. Indeed, we do use Indeed. We get lots of qualified candidates using Indeed usually. And then word of mouth has been a big one for us. Friends of friends who contact us, and our staff's really great about recruiting for us. And then retaining, of course, that's a challenge as well. But just giving your staff a roadmap for their success, so they know that they're not stuck where they're at. Everybody wants to go places. Everybody wants to grow and be better and bigger. Just showing them their worth. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just showing them that they're important, and that they're skilled, and telling them what they are good at and why they are good for your company. Being very supportive, having an open door policy, and just being there for any outside problems that they may need to talk about. And really, I think it's the little things. We do staff potlucks. The staff love it. Brad usually cooks the main meat for us, and food is a way to a lot of women's heart, and that's just what has worked for us. But there's just lots of little things to show appreciation to help retain. But definitely good communication is useful as well.
Most certainly. And so now we're all very curious. So Brad, the next potluck, we want an invitation so we can come see your cooking abilities here. And love the the roadmap, and that you're staying in that communication with your employees and investing in them. You guys definitely have exhausted, it seems like, every and all opportunities to try to recruit and retain. So doing an excellent job, and we'll certainly hope you keep it up. Blanca, I believe the next question is for you. Where can we find the calendar for the Rise Up cohorts in 2023?
Yes, we usually post everything on our website. We are actually running 3 now. We offer them in Spanish as well. So we have 2 running in Spanish and 1 in English. So we haven't set the dates for cohorts later in the year because we've been so busy, but we will. And if anyone's interested, just, you can shoot me an email and we'll get, we will get you, in our database so that you get our emails, our communications. And again, you don't have to wait for a Rise Up. You can always do one-on-one advising and also join our collaborative sessions every month.
And then are these cohorts in person? Are they virtual? Is it hybrid? How are they organized?
It's been virtual since COVID. So, and we find that our clients appreciate the virtual space because we have people from, across the city, and they save the travel. So virtual cohorts have worked for us, and we're keeping them that way for now.
Awesome. And I guess just to even get back to the maybe the easiest question is, how does somebody get started with the Women's Business Development Center? What's the first step they need to take?
It's very easy. They can just call, give us a call on the phone or send an email, and we'll have them scheduled with a business advisor. And like I said, it's no cost. So the only thing that we ask from our clients is that they fill out an intake form so that they can be part of our database. And that's it. Give us a call, and I'm sure that you will share the details of, or
Yes.
visit our website, wbdc.org.
Yep. And I believe we've made it through the questions here. If you got a last minute question, go ahead and throw it in the chat. And Blanca, thank you for putting a link in there in the chat as well about the governor's proposal. And Tom, maybe that's a little follow up for you there. But most certainly, first and foremost, heartfelt thank you to our presenters today. Thank you for educating our not only local businesses, but our regional businesses throughout the state as a whole. We get quite a large audience to these things, walking us through availability and resources through the Women's Business Development Center, and getting to hear firsthand from MKU on their experience with the new apprenticeship for the childcare program they have. And then thank you to Bonnie and Nate for guiding us and giving us that little insight to the back end, if you will, for how these apprenticeship programs can start, and to complement what Brad and Hannah have done with MKU. So excellent presentations today. Again, thank you for not only agreeing to participate with this, but for educating us. We hope that everybody found today's webinar insightful. Hope you got something out of it. A lot of great questions, so I'm sure everybody had a good time. Just as a quick reminder, we will post a copy of this webinar on our website. That's IL Business Navigators, navigators with an S.com. If you registered for today's event, you'll get a copy of the slides from today's presentations. We'll include links such as the Women's Business Development Center. You may grab the link out of that chat too that Blanca put in there. Nate, and Bonnie, let's work together. Get that link to the page for the Apprenticeship Navigators on who those are, and that way we can send as much out as possible. And then, as always, we'll have a copy of this recording in that email too. So hope that you continue to join us through 2023 here. We do these webinars on the last Thursday of each month. So in March, it's going to be the 30th. And we're going to talk about the SSBCI with DCO, the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, in which that is the Illinois State Small Business Credit Initiative, and then potential other programs that the state's getting ready to roll out. So very excited about that. Hope you tune in for that one. And thank you for joining us today, and hope that you enjoyed it and had a good time.